Morning, everybody. It's 8:10 a.m. It is June 10th, Monday morning. Last week, obviously made new all-time highs. Made new all-time highs on Friday, then kind of sold off. The jobs numbers were kind of a mixed bag. You had unemployment that went up, and you had a lot of jobs added more than expected. So it was kind of a mixed bag. But then the 10-year yield rose pretty significantly on Friday, which put some weight on equities into the close. We'll see how that pans out. Right now, the yields are going to go a little higher again today. So, and now this week we got big news coming: CPI and FOMC in the same day on Wednesday, PPI on Thursday. So we'll have to see what's going on. There's some other news moving stocks this morning. We'll get into that. So, without further ado, welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use volume profile, market profile to find structure in the markets along with supply and demand, gap exposure levels, anchor VWAPs, the most traded price of the year, the rolling month, the rolling week, and the previous day. It just helps me find structure in the market. It's how I like to look at the market. And I do this every day at 8:10 a.m. It should be your one-stop shop for news, daily charts, scenarios that's going to go on in the ES and the NASDAQ, and why stocks are moving, why they're not. So hopefully every day you can join me at 8:10, and then at 8:30, like I said, I do around short and long scenarios in the Nasdaq and the ES based on the structure and with the volume profile and the market profile and my other levels. All right, so I do that fresh every day, and I do the analysis live. It's not premeditated. It's not done before. So hopefully everybody could join me, and if you could subscribe, set an alert. That would mean a lot. Right, if you do enjoy my content, please give me a big thumbs up or a like. That'd be much appreciated. You can also follow me on X at Gonzo719. Okay, let's get right into the futures watch list here. And notice we have an elevated VIX. It's up 7.12%. It's at over 13. All right, we got silver up 1.6 after pulling back on Friday. Crude is up 1.10 after bottoming out. The dollar is up up 0.3. Okay, up at 105. The 10-year yield should be higher as well when that reports at 820. Nasdaq is pretty much flat, but down 0.05. ES pretty much flat, down 0.05. Gold pulled back pretty significantly on Friday, big pullback. Now it's kind of flat. Dow is down 0.07. Bitcoin's down 0.11. 30-year bonds are being sold, down 0.37. That should have the 10-year yield rise a little bit. Ether's down 0.51. Russell's down 0.54. Remember, Russell's more sensitive to the 10-year yield. All right, moving on to the Max 7 Plus. Apple leading the pack, up 0.37, followed by Baba, up 0.32. Not much there to talk about other than obviously Nvidia is split, 10 to 1 split today, so that's closed at $120.88, and it's down 0.35 this morning. AMD got a big downgrade, so it's down 2.6%. That stock's just been coiling up around that 160s, in the 160s. Very interesting, that stock. All right, so that's down 2.6%. Moving on to the top sector stocks. Walmart. I'm trying to see why they just got to maintain and outperform. Walmart, but the price is 75, so that's Walmart's up 1.44%. Eli Lilly up 0.47. All right. Is there laggards? Home Depot. Home Depot's actually pretty bearish as of late if you look at the charts. So it's down 0.32. Let's look at the swing trade list. We got Southwest Airlines up 8.11%. CrowdStrike added to the S&P 500 is up 5.85. GameStop, right? GameStop up 5.24, Carvana up 2.45, DraftKings up 2. One, I mean 1.2, well, 1.92, Enphase up 1.25. GDXJ gold miners, junior miners up 1.14, Broadcom up 0.95. That's kind of like gold up 0.83. Those are kind of the leaders this morning. Let's look at the laggards. Celsius down 3.83, Palantir down 2.87. I forget the name of this company, Illumini, I think. They were just cut out of the S&P 500. Adobe's got earnings this week, and I believe they just got a couple price target raises lowered, so they're down 1.17. That stock has kind of been beaten up pretty good. That's a look at that. And now we can move on to sectors. All right. So this morning, it isn't semis, it is energy. Up 0.24. That's leading the pack. The loser is financials. Well, Goldman Sachs is down by like 0.27. It's not really down, but it's down. Semis is negative. Now let's see what this split does in Nvidia. Right? I'm sure it will take some of the volatility out of the price action. So that is that. All right, that kind of wraps up the watch list. We can get into some economic data and news. All right, so let's look at this week. Today, there's not much. Tomorrow, we have a 10-year note auction at 1 p.m. But Wednesday, that is CPI. So it's a big day Wednesday. CPI in the morning, followed by the FOMC later at 2 p.m. Okay, then you got Thursday, PPI, jobless claims, Fed Williams speech, 30-year bond auction at 1 p.m. Friday, you got Michigan consumer sentiment, Fed's Goolsbee, Fed Cook speaks. So, pretty good week of data. Trying to see here. Let's look at some upgrades and downgrades here. So if we look at upgrades, you have Krispy Kreme got an upgrade, Enphase, Planet Fitness got an upgrade, Walmart upgrade. Okay, that's why those stocks are moving. Downgrades. We got Adobe got a downgrade from a buy to a hold. AMD got a downgrade from overweight to equal weight. That's the big one. All right. Initiates coverage. It's not really. See, raises target. Even though AMD got their price target raised from 185 to 200, they still the downgrades moving the stock down. Chewy looks like they got price target raised. Nvidia, obviously that price target doesn't matter anymore. 1200 to 1450, which really means 120 to 145. And then Walmart got a price target raise to 70 to 75. T-Mobile from 175 to 195. Let's see if there's any target lowers. That doesn't mean anything, not really. That's about it. That's about all I'm going to go over there. Let's see if there's anything on the juice. I'm not really seeing anything here. Let's look at this news here. Let's see why Apple's moving. This could possibly be why. AI is so focused at Apple's annual conference. Apple's expected to showcase how it's integrating artificial intelligence across its software. Microsoft unveils all digital Xbox consoles. Moderna COVID flu combo vaccine superior to separate shots in trial. Oh boy. Let's see here. Just trying to see any other news that would be outstanding. Yeah, that's about it. I think it's enough for that. I think we can go to daily charts. Let's do that. All right. So on Friday, we made a new all-time high, and then it looks like that 10-year yield took over, and we got a big selling wick here. All right. So where are we at now? 533.85. 533.85. Yeah, we're right by the close. So it's like pretty much unchanged right now. Take a look at the futures. So that's where we're at right now, right here. We're not falling out of bed completely. Let's just see. We got big news coming up. We could move sideways until Wednesday. Anything can happen, but that's more than likely that what will happen. Here's the Qs. Qs made all-time highs on Friday, then sold off. Okay, we're at 462.80, so we're right by the close. All right, let's look at Nasdaq futures holding last month's highs, but we're moving sideways. All right, so like I said, could just be back and forth until Wednesday. FOMC and CPI. I mean, pretty big data coming out that day. All right, now that was your daily charts. Now we can go over to our triple-headed monster. That's 10-year yield, the VIX, and the dollar, and see what's going on there. Here's the 10-year yield. Look at that rise in yields. That is a big move. Cut through the 100-day, the 200-day, the 90 EMA daily, and stopped at the 20-day simple moving average. That's a big move. And the 10-year yield is up again, 0.47. So this means that the bond market doesn't see cuts coming with that employment stuff coming, even though unemployment rose. So very interesting. These yields rising like this. Okay, that's going to put the market on notice. That could all change from Wednesday. Let's look at the dollar. The dollar, look at that, finally made the move out of this little range. Look at that dollar strength here. Wow, that's a big wick. Oof. But the dollar in this little range really came out of it. All right, that usually should put a lot of weight on metals, on commodities. A higher dollar is not good for equities. So part of the triple-headed monster rearing its head right now, and the VIX. The VIX, look, the VIX. You had all this coming down. Now look, you're kind of gapping up in the VIX, but you need the VIX to get over 15 to really get some volatility back. This is 30 days out of fear, but we were as low as an 11. We're at 13 right now. People probably hedging their bets for Wednesday. So that's your triple-headed monster. And we're going to now move over to the market profile and volume profile. We'll just look at the structure in the market. It's my favorite tool, along with the most traded prices. All right. So we'll just look at that together. Try to map out some type of game plan for today. It's Monday, so Mondays sometimes I like to watch a little more. All right. So here we go. All right, let's look at this profile together. This is the rolling week. We got our value area right here, and you got your excess from Friday. Okay, so prices right here. We're in the value area. So basically, we're pretty much in balance right now. All right, you got your most traded price of the month here. That is 53.24. Most traded price of the week. Last week, 53.64. All right, maybe we just bounce in between these until FOMC and CPI. Okay, now you can see we are inside Friday's range. Okay, we're inside Friday's range right now. Okay, and we're in between these big levels. Okay, so that's what's really going on. There's not a lot of edge to what I'm seeing right now. All right, so what I do see right off the bat is there's a weak high here. I would say this area. Okay, why is that weak? You got overnight high, the most traded price of Friday, and the most traded price of the week. So if you get over that, that's a very key level. Okay, it could also act as resistance. All right, you kind of have a weak low here with the overnight low and yes, Friday's lows. You kind of broke that a little bit, and then you got bought. So that's something I'm noticing. We still have not taken out these single prints that were made on this day that we broke out. They've been holding. Okay, like I said, I would not be surprised if we make it down here, being that the 10-year yield has risen. Okay, so let's look at this. On Friday, we made it all the way up there. That's the lows. Here's the overnight highs. Here's the overnight lows. Okay, we're not at the midpoint. We're at the open. Actually, the open price on Friday. And this, you really have to see. This is not a great setup, I would say, at all. So, like I said, we're just in the middle of the muddle here. You're just in the middle of this profile. Doesn't give a lot of great edge to it. However, if you're gonna play it, let's talk about it, right? So what I see right now, okay, you got the Friday lows and the overnight lows and these single prints. Okay, they have to be defended. You also have monthly VWAP, and you got the most traded price of the month. Could be supportive. So really, this big area, buyers have to step up. Okay, that's really what I'm going to be watching here. Is what happens when we come back and meet Friday's lows. Okay, so what can happen is you can go in here, fail here, come down to the overnight lows. Now, just to give you a little stat, around 97% of every session hits the overnight low or the overnight high. So it's very likely we hit one or the other. Okay. Now, if you come in here, a couple things can happen. You can come in here and hit these single prints. You don't clean them, and you start making higher lows. That is very bullish. You're probably going to make it up to here. Okay. You could even clean them out, and then you got to see how you test the most traded price of the month. If you can't find acceptance below it, and you hold, we're probably going to go back here. It's really what I'm looking at as far as long. Okay, as far as long. Now, as far as short, now remember I said there's a weak high and it's most traded price of the week. So this is the seller's chance here to defend this. All right, you got supply zone here. So I want to see what happens when we go in here and attack this level. Do we find acceptance above it? If we can't, and you start holding below it, that's what could fuel this move down, and you could make your move down there. Okay, if you take this level out and you hold, we are going to go revisit this demand zone here around 5,300. That's really all I'm looking at. Okay, but I always have to see when the market opens. That's all new information that none of us know yet. How is Nvidia going to respond today? How's AMD going to respond to its downgrade? We don't know. That's stuff you don't know yet. I don't know how the market's going to look. So that is the scenarios for today for ES. Okay. Now for NASDAQ, let's see if it looks similar. It might not. It might, or it might not. All right. So kind of pretty much similar. Okay, pretty much similar. All right, let's look at this together. Remember, it's the first time I'm looking at it just with you guys. So here's profile. So we got excess at the top from Friday. Then you got your value area, 70% of the trade in the last week, and then you got a lot of excess all the way from that most traded price of the month. Okay, that's when the market really, right here, broke out. Boof. Now, there is a big difference. And the one thing I would say is single prints. All right, that's emotional buying. It's a one-way trade. So right here, when I have them on my chart, they're from this day. You have single prints that have not been cleaned. Okay, single prints that have not been cleaned. This is an overnight session, so that doesn't count. So Nasdaq could fall. Let's say you get a lot of weakness in Nvidia today because of the split. This could fall to the monthly VWAP here at 188.45. I'm just saying, where's price? Now see, here's the beauty about most traded price. All right, the most traded price of Friday and the most traded price of the last week in the Nasdaq is 190.40 right here. Guess where price is? Right there. These are magnets, folks. These levels, they're magnets. This is basically the market telling you this is the fairest price for the Nasdaq right now, and the market's accepting that price. So the most transactions have happened here. Okay, it's a very crucial level. Now, here's Friday's highs. You got a weak high here in the Nasdaq, which is a little different than the ES. You don't have that weak high. So you have a weak high here. That's a possible breakout point. It's also a possible resistance again. Okay. Now, what you do have here is you do have somewhat of a weak high here in the most traded price of the week is here. The most traded price of Friday is here, and then you have overnight high. So just like the ES, I want to see what happens if we hold above this price. Well, maybe then you go test that weak high. If you can't, well, then maybe we go test these overnight lows, and maybe if you get really weak, you rip through these single prints, and you go back to this naked VPOC and the monthly VWAP. So that's really what I'm seeing in the Nasdaq. Like I said, Nvidia. Let's see. Right now, Apple's pushing higher, so there's a little disconnect there. But I don't know. I really don't know. Like I said, right now, the way this is set up, it's not like an awesome, like this is the money setup. It's more or less I have to like really watch what's going to happen today. Okay, so why don't we get into the scenarios for the Nasdaq? We're going to go to the bull scenarios. Okay, now, one tip I want to let everybody know is single prints. Now, I talked about it, they can be cleaned with weakness, right? Well, here's some tip to you. All right, so these are the single prints. Those should not be supportive in a weak market. All right, they should not be supportive. Now, whenever the market's supposed to do something, let's say we're weak and we go into these single prints, okay, and they do not get cleaned. Let's say we do this, come into here, and you get support. Whenever single prints are supportive, that's bullish. Now, opposite, the other way around would be bearish. If single prints above us, you couldn't clean them, right? But I'm talking about if we're going down and you have single prints and these become support, that's bullish. Okay, so I'm really going to watch this area. Now, they can clean these. This is a little patch. But if they come in here and they can't clean those and they start making lower highs, that is a sign the sellers are just not strong. And you're going to at least test the most traded price of the week. Now, if you can hold above that, you could maybe test that weak high up here. Make new highs again. I don't know if that's in the cards because of the big data coming out. But this definitely is an area that you want to see defended by bear and bulls. Okay? So that's what I'm going to be looking for there. All right. Now, as far as the bearish case here, you have a setup here You do have supply up here. Now we're kind of like in a little bit of a bracket here, like right here, I would say. So the first thing you want to see is, what do we do here? Can the market, this is the key, can the market sustain value and acceptance above this level? If it can't, okay, if it can't, if it does this, comes down, struggles, well, we're probably going to test these single prints. Now again, if it's weak, we will blow through these single prints, most likely hit the monthly VWAP and this naked VPOC. Then below that, you got a gap that's been unfilled. You can go down to 187.50, possibly down to the most traded price of the month. I'm not saying that happens, but it could, because there's not a lot of support there. Okay, now the other case could be made for this. If you do hold above here and you push back up into this weak high, you want to see how the market handles it. This could be, like I said, waiting for more information. So people might take profits, be hesitant, and you kind of just come back to the mean. You kind of revert back to the mean. That's what I'm looking at today. Like I said, nothing's standing out to me like, oh man, this is setting up beautiful. Like there's not today, and it's a Monday morning, so that's what I'm looking at. Again, anybody has any questions or comments, please leave them in the chat or leave them on the channel. All right, I'd be happy to answer them. And that's probably about it today. All right, stay patient, stay green. Remember, it's Monday morning, and we have big data coming out on Wednesday. Now, I've said this a couple times. Probability-wise, you wait. People usually don't do stuff crazy risk before the big data comes out, but sometimes there is a move. So there's always outliers. All right. Now, however, hopefully you enjoyed my analysis. You can subscribe and set that alert. That would mean a lot. Also, if you enjoy my content, please give me a big thumbs up or a like. That would also help me out tremendously. And then, of course, you could always follow me on X at Gonzo719. All right. So, everybody, if you don't hear from me today, I'll most likely catch me again at 8:10 a.m. tomorrow morning, where I do this all again. And hopefully you guys can join me again. All right. Everybody have a great day.